Curt Sachs. And so I'll start out with something that Rob Ellis sent to us, and that's a friend of Curt's. Rob Ellis describes Curt as a mensch. So for you non-Jews, it's mensch, and Robbie gives a definition too. Mensch is a German word which in Yiddish means a good person. A mensch is a particularly good person, with the qualities one would hope for in a dear friend or trusted colleague. A gentleman. Robbie goes on to say that in every aspect of Curt's life, he brings an unbridled passion, kindness, and devotion. He's a man of incredible integrity and vision, and I am proud to call him one of my dearest and loyal friends. By the time he was 8 years old, Curt Sachs knew he was going to be an architect. Unfortunately, his mom was under the impression that architecture was not a good fit for her son because Curt was not exhibiting much of a talent for mathematics. So dissuaded and diverted from his childhood dream, Curt became a radiation therapist in New Mexico, and then eventually moved himself and his young wife to Albuquerque to head up a cancer center. And after 10 years of that, he and his wife both went back to school, she in law, and Curt finally in architecture. And some dreams just don't die. And they moved to New York, had new careers, and 3 kids along the way. His architectural practice there had focused on historic preservation, medical facilities, library, schools, condo renovations, performance venues, and even a project at San Quentin. This is really one of these ready, fire, aim stories, I think. After the kids had grown, Curt and his wife tossed it all up in the air again and landed in Maine about 5 years ago. His wife went to school in library science and is now the children's librarian at the Walker Library in Westbrook. And in Maine, Curt's recent architectural work includes the restoration of the Walker Memorial Library in Westbrook. Did I get that right? Okay. And, oh yeah, did I mention that he's a sculptor and uses repurposed musical instruments to explore his passion for music, architecture, and medicine. He's also working on the restoration of St. Anne's Church on the Passamaquoddy Indian Reservation in Perry, Maine. His creativity appears to be blossoming here, and he says he feels like he's closer to nirvana than he has ever been in his life. And so tonight, Curt has come to share his journey with us. So please welcome Curt.
Before I ring my chime, I have to caution you. The program says that my presentation is something about to save or not to save. And last week we had what we call a dry run of the presentations, and I allowed myself to be totally trashed. And I left that session feeling very badly. But before I got home, I realized that I just don't like tooting my own horn. And so I completely redesigned my presentation. And now I would call it Life is a Kit of Parts. So. This is a different sort of magical mystery tour I'm going to take you on. It's about transition, passion, and what we've been hearing a lot about tonight, reinvention. This picture was taken on an airplane from Newark to Portland, and you'll hear more about it later. Meet Curt Sachs and Curt Sachs. The man on the right is not me, that is my grandfather, and I'm on the left. This photo was taken about 60 years ago. And hopefully you can see on the table there are little cars, but also what appear to be the original Legos. What happened?
Just keep talking. Sorry.
I will keep talking. My grandfather, who I didn't know very well as a child, he passed away when I was about 10, has become an inspiration. And with that inspiration, I take you to Haiti, where I visited about 8 months after the earthquake, and ostensibly to design healthcare facilities in the third world. And I can tell you that it is indeed the third world. Interestingly, by the kiosk, it would appear that cell phones are very high on Haitians' list of necessities. But it's almost out of the movies. It is that bleak and poverty-ridden and very moving. Another part of Haiti, this is in the north of Haiti, in Cap Haitian, typical scene where people are, in addition to drying their clothes, they are stealing power from each other, which happens a lot. In spite of the horrible conditions and the sadness and poverty, somebody had enough humor, I suppose, to put love in the wall of the laundry at the Justinian University Medical Center. Here, again, humor in Haiti, stuffed animal on the dashboard of our protector's vehicle, on our way to a clinic site, and it really does, without my words, tell you the story of what goes on there in our own hemisphere. And if anybody was wondering why the earthquake did so much damage, it's because buildings are built with rebar that has no concrete over it. Pretty telling. I hope that by now they have developed some building codes that will avoid this. This is my first ever sign at the Walker Memorial Library during the restoration of this 1894 jewel of a building, which would have been lost if the project had not been done. The years of neglect to the building caused it great damage. This, as mentioned earlier, is at the Passamaquoddy Reservation, almost in Canada, where we're trying to develop a plan to save this building. It was only built in 1928, but it's falling apart, again from neglect, and the so-called building envelope is failing. Some of the cultural elements that remain in this wonderful church are the stained glass windows that came from Germany. They were designed in consultation with the clergy who were at the church at the time. Which takes us to music, architecture, and medicine. Only 3 of my careers so far, where I am repurposing musical instruments. And I'll let them speak for themselves, however they speak. Some of the names are there's a series called Spinal Fusion, Fractured Fiddles, perhaps anemic guitars. Maybe even decomposed bodies. Sometimes 20 seconds is really long. That's me. I'm on the roof of the Passamaquoddy project. Adjacent to on the top you can see the Bay of Fundy. And this is kind of a symbol of where I am now. are not lost. But I think that life is indeed a kit of parts. I think we're born connected to bliss. You have to find it. Take off the armor, nothing ventured, nothing gained. We do what we have to do to follow our dreams. Less is more, do with less. Main the way life should be.
Just want to say, Curt has done an amazing amount of work since we did our rehearsal last week before. Just completely refashioned the whole thing, and it's just wonderful. So thank you, Curt.